So guys, this is the last podcast of the year. So hi Theo, how are you?
Of 2017, very well, thank you. How are you?
Great. Well, actually, I've got the dreaded lurgy. I've been carrying a cold and a virus over the last few days, and it's probably impacted my productivity, I suppose.
You've been very bad. You've actually taken an aspirin, haven't you?
I did take an aspirin. For me, who's an anti-pill popper, I have taken an aspirin. And I think I took a little sip of my wife's cough mixture today as well. But anyway, let's get started. So one of the things we really want to talk about today is resolutions. Everybody is going to be making New Year's resolution right now. Some of you already have. And the biggest problem with New Year's resolutions, and I know that Theo's itching to get in on this one, is that we set all these resolutions and within about 2 weeks, they're all gone. Yeah, everyone. In fact, there's a thing called Blue Monday, albeit it started by a PR company. Big pat on the back to them because they've created and branded a day. How cool is that? But called Blue Monday. Well, it's not a cool day, but it's Blue Monday, and Blue Monday is supposed to be the unhappiest day of the year. And they've come up with this equation where they've taken weather into account, people being demotivated, and a number of other things. But one of the things I believe is because we start off the year saying, in the new year, I'm going to start off with really, really good intentions, and they set all these resolutions. I'm going to give up smoking, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to change jobs, I'm going to do all this sort of stuff. And within 2 weeks, we're all back to the same place as we were before Christmas, without the hope, looking forward to next year. And then what's even worse, you repeat that cycle every single year. And there's a thing, there was an article I read, I think it was in Meghan Markle. She actually confirmed it today. She says, I set the same resolutions every single year because she keeps on failing them. Why is that, Theo?
Well, it's nothing special. We do it all the time because we're drones of modern society, and modern society is built on instant gratification, and instant gratification is all to do with instant anxiety reduction by acquiring illusionary needs. A goal is simply an illusionary need. That's all it is. And therefore goals are one of the worst things invented by mankind. Almost as bad as political correctness, actually.
It's almost as bad as political correctness.
Think about it this way.
Go on.
Just to recap, because people know that some of the basics and what we've been talking about already, the way humans function through evolution is anxiety. Every living organism has a level of arousal because it needs it to keep alive. Because if you're aroused, you escape predators, you're alert, and you're motivated to achieve your basic needs of survival: air, food, water, shelter, and mating. Now, that's it. That's what your arousal is meant to do. But as soon as you and I walk out of here and we finish our erudite conversation, we're actually walking through the urban jungle, but there's no predators to get us. We have our basic needs. We've got our coffees here, our cakes, our panettones. But what we do is society presents us with millions of illusionary needs that we are told that we need. You need to set yourself goals. You need to get yourself a new car. You need to get yourself a bigger house. You need to get yourself new shoes. You need to get yourself a new handbag. You need to get the new perfume. Needs. You need to get more likes on social media.
Let me jump in there for a second, because there's I'm almost feeling, and although it's not a mixed message, it feels like it's a mixed message, because in our last podcast, when we talk about happiness and Christmas and having structure and everything, doesn't goals provide you a structure so that you can track over a period of time?
No.
Right, okay, good.
Because you see, goals are illusionary needs. Now, there are two reasons why you do anything: because you want or because you need.
So how do people progress then?
This is the difficulty. It's what catches us as humans, what catches us out, is the fact that nature worked out that the quickest way of making us survive is reducing anxiety reflexly. So if you're wandering through a jungle and you see saber-toothed tiger, you're not going to start thinking, oh, saber-toothed tiger could eat me, I better run. You just skedaddle reflexly. So nature has hardwired us to reflexly reduce our anxiety. So therefore we do it without thinking. And that's why seemingly intelligent people do stupid things, because the volitional thought is removed from the equation. That's why people become addicts. So for instance, I need the fix. No, they don't. They think they need it, and they'll do it reflexly. I need a drink.
Do you know what's interesting, particularly with the whole goal setting thing? Look, I was, most leadership management programs, most management consultants, even the self-help or the self-proclaimed self-help gurus out there will all tell you that it's all about goal setting, it's all about actions, it's all about this. And you know what? Some of them even quote this 1953 Yale University study where the class of 1953 were apparently all had to set their goals, and only 3 of them actually did, and they turned to be the most successful out there. Like 20 years later, they did this, and it was supposed to be this great Yale study, which is quoted on stage, and people believe it from these people. Yet, when they actually proper researchers went and actually did research on this and actually asked the class of 1953, they said that no such experiment had ever taken place.
You know, I was about to tell you I was sure it was fixed.
Yeah, so that wasn't even. So people are quoting them, making up all these statistics and all these things.
Twitter is full of it. Twitter's full of nonsense. Follow your goals.
Coughing. Okay, go
follow
on.
your goals. Follow your fantasies. Follow your utmost desires. If your heart's in it, do it. Complete and utter nonsense.
But what about those people who actually? I mean, look, as I said, I've done it. I mean, I've even said it to my staff. You set them their smart goals. They're specific. They're measurable. They're achievable. They're realistic, and they're time bound. And all these things are supposed to create this structure and help them to motivate them.
No,
but it
nonsense.
doesn't motivate them.
Nonsense. You can have.
Or does it?
You can have goals for a company, because of course a company has to achieve certain things to make profit. So therefore, you have to show it's a business plan. So a business plan is goals, essentially.
Yeah, but actually,
humans are not companies. Companies are frankly psychopaths.
But actually, I'm going to challenge that one, because the whole credit crunch thing came from goals. Because as soon as people are told you've got to achieve this goal and achieve this goal and achieve this goal, they start compromising on their values. They start compromising on their ethics.
Correct. You know why? You know why? Because a goal is an illusionary need.
You wanted to jump in there, so I'll let you go.
You know why? Because goals are illusionary needs, and that's the thing. When a need, you see, if you don't get a need, it's a disaster, and you're dead. But because we think things are real needs, then we treat it as a catastrophe if you don't get it. So we're willing to give up practically anything, go to any means to achieve a goal.
Because here's the thing I want to ask. So how do you activate change? So you got someone who, let's say someone's unhappy in December, and we talked about happiness before in the last podcast. You got someone who's unhappy leading up to December. They want to change their life in 2018, and they've got all these aspirations and they set these goals. If someone wants to change, what do they actually have to do if goals are insignificant?
First of all, it's all about self-awareness, self-knowledge. That's the first thing you need to do. So, for instance, someone came into me and she said to me, I said, "What are you saying to me?" She said, "I've decided it's time to change." And I said, "No. You have got to stop trying to change. You've got to be yourself." So people live their lives constantly doing what they think they need to do, but very rarely doing what they want to do.
So you're saying that people shouldn't change? They should just carry on their miserable existences if that's what they are?
They should stop trying to change, and first of all, find themselves. Be who they are first. Be genuine. Be credible, genuine people, rather than drones of modern society and materialism and goal setting.
Because I think people are going to have a problem computing this information this time around, because I'm struggling today. Because, I mean, you talk about Carl Rogers, we've mentioned him before in the past, he was a humanistic psychologist back in 1959. He came up with self-actualization, and he talks about self-actualization. He talks about your self-worth, and if who you are and who you want to be. I think it was your self-image. It was your self-image of who you are right now, and your ideal self of who you actually want to be. The further apart they are, the more incongruent you are. Therefore, the more unhappy you are. And it's when the two, when you start closing the gap between the two, is when you'll actually reach that level of fulfillment, that level of happiness, although no one can actually be perfectly in line.
Well, see, that's a psychologist stating the blinding obvious but giving it his name to it.
Slightly obvious. The obvious?
Stating the blinding obvious but putting their name to it. and naming it as a theory. I mean, it's so obvious, isn't it? If you're not being who you are, then you're going to be increasingly unhappy. Did you know that that there's so much pressure on us in today's society? The prescribing of antidepressants by GPs has trebled in the last 15 years.
Yeah,
America, the average lifespan in America is dropping. It's actually, it used to be in the top 3 in the world. It's now dropped. It's below the top 15.
Yeah, that's through all their genetically modified vegetables and the shit they actually serve people, isn't it?
The 3 causes of shortening of lifespan in America are drug overdoses, are obesity, and are lack of access to adequate healthcare. Fancy that. It's almost a third world country. And Britain is not far behind. The lifespan of British people are also dropping. Because our diets and stress
you've got
is so
drugs
serious.
overdoses, which is coming from Mexico. You've got obesity. Well, that's very much they've had that problem for years. I mean, I remember going to Disney World, and you had these overweight people actually in their little go-kart. Those automatic wheelchair type things, taking them around. I'm thinking, actually, walk, get some exercise. You're more likely to burn off those calories if you do that.
People are not designed to eat this kind of food, and the food we're eating is again another marketing con, because it's the fast food companies trying to sell food as a commodity to make money, and you can only sell processed food. You can't sell fresh food as a commodity.
Okay. But I want to get some clarity. I'm going to come back to this clarity about not changing or not wanting to change and accepting who you are and things like this.
Because then once you accept who you are, warts and all, you can start doing what you want, and you can start taking control. Now, for instance, you can, but you still have to live in today's society. So, for instance, if you can work in a company that has goals, for instance, but the way you do it is that if working to your comfortable capacity, or just beyond your comfortable capacity, to challenge yourself, allows you to achieve the goals of the company, then it's the right company for you. If it isn't, it's the wrong company for you.
I'm going to have to disagree a little bit with you there, because I think you've got to actually have some sort of vision as to where you want to go.
Yes, you do,
and thrive for that.
Well, you do, but then you know your limitations. You have to know what suits you. So, for instance, you can say, well, this is what I want. Give you an example. There are 2 ways to function. We said,
okay, most people want a good career. They want
excellent. We'll talk about that. Now, you can do something for two ways: because you need to, or because you want to. And understanding yourself, you can do the same thing, but with a different motivation. So, for instance, nobody wants to study hard to pass an exam. Well, not usually. And people study under a lot of stress. They don't enjoy it necessarily. They're worried about failing. Failure is a disaster. They think, oh my God, I've got to study. How many times have you heard someone say, I've got to study?
Yeah.
What you have to do is you have to think about what you want, given the bigger picture. So, for instance, if you want to work in the career...
You want to what?
If you want to work in a particular career, you choose to pass the exams that are necessary to get you there.
But isn't that fulfilling when you pass them, though?
No, it's an anticlimax. If you do it because you think you need to, it is often an anticlimax, because once you realise that first of all, you might not get what you want, in which case you feel a terrible failure, which is the risk of goals, because they are illusionary needs. If you don't get it, it's a catastrophe. You feel it's immensely bad for your mental health and your self-esteem. If you get it, then you realise in most cases you never needed it. And therefore there's a sense of anticlimax, a sense of being conned, a sense of wasted your time. And then your self-esteem goes down anyway. However,
go on.
If you say to yourself, well, I want to, I really want to work in this career, so I choose to pass these exams. Now, if those exams end up being too onerous, so that having to pass them ends up causing you endless stress, then clearly the career is not for you. So you choose something else that you want. As we said, it's all about enjoying the journey. How far along the road you get depends on your individual ability